I'm going to share the personal statement that got me into King's College London for my master's in Psychology and Neuroscience of Mental Health. I took a very bold approach and only applied to one program. And fortunately, I got in. You can watch my other video on how I envisioned only applying to one program and the steps I took to get there. So I knew I wanted to apply as soon as possible, and there are only a few admission times in the year, like March, September, January, and I picked January. I applied in September, and by October, I got my unconditional offer. The admission process was straightforward. There are no interviews. Decisions were based solely on your personal statement, your grades, and academic references. The personal statement I wrote initially was about 6 pages long, and then later I reduced it to about 2 pages because it has a word limit. King's provides minimal guidance on content, so through research and discussions with my academic friends, I was determined I needed to cover these few things: my introduction and scholarship, my influences in my practice, my academic focus and proposed study, and future vision for impact. So in the very beginning, there's a writing process, and in this writing window, emotions can run a bit high because you're tapping into your past, present, and future, and even revealing some very vulnerable things in the process. I was dealing with significant anxiety during this period because I was going through a personal breakup that involved a lot of betrayal, so this emotional turmoil intensified my drive to succeed. The hurt and the anger from what I've been through made me even more determined to prove myself and achieve my goals. I ended up with about 1,000 words within the word limit, and I didn't get to include much more, but I distilled it to the very essence of what I was trying to say without embellishment. Today, I am a professional astrologer and counselor in training, and I run my own private practice. My exploration of astrology has naturally led me to investigate its intersection with psychology and counseling, and helping individuals understand better their emotional landscape while uncovering the root causes of their challenges. What I wish to develop through this master's program at King's is the further integration of psychology and neurobiological principles of mental health. I deeply value making others feel seen and heard, as I believe true healing begins with being fully understood. In my practice, I prioritize creating a safe space where clients can feel validated knowing their emotions and struggles are recognized. I strive to listen actively and engage with empathy, ensuring each person feels their voice matters. I'm committed to employing evidence-based methods to foster a supportive environment where clients feel safe and empowered to articulate their experiences. By integrating different disciplines, this leads to more accurate diagnoses and improved outcomes. The result is that it builds trust and also enhances engagement, which is essential for effective therapeutic intervention. I am dedicated to advancing my understanding of deeper psychological principles and frameworks related to mental health. Proudly receiving a scholarship from Kepler College, a prestigious institution renowned for its excellence in Western astrology, affirms my commitment to developing integrative psychological healing practices that can significantly benefit those who often lack access to such resources. This scholarship recognizes both my merit and dedication to this field, helping expand the reach of psychological astrology to underrepresented communities. It allowed me to foster a broader understanding of how astrology can be a tool for exploring the unconscious and the hidden layers of our psyche. It facilitates healing and growth through the integration of the shadow parts of oneself that may have been previously rejected. My time at Kepler has deepened my expertise while allowing me to stay true to my goal of making my practice more accessible and inclusive for all. My influences and practices. I approach psychological issues through a framework that emphasizes the mind-body connection and the neurobiological underpinnings of mental health. Drawing on books such as The Body Keeps the Score, I recognize that conditions like depression extend beyond mood disorders, involving complex emotional physiological interactions. This clinically informed perspective enables me to apply an integrative approach to mental health, combining psychological assessments with a focus on the body's role in emotional regulation and recovery. A poignant example of this is my mother's troubled life story. Her struggles with abandonment, abuse, and trauma rocked our family, leaving emotional wounds on both my brother and myself. Understanding her pain and the generational impacts of these experiences have been central to my journey. Astrology provided a framework for making sense of this inherited trauma and motivated me to explore ways to heal. I began to see how the correlation of planetary placements in my chart mirrored the inner workings of the human psyche. The intersection of astrology and psychology inspired me to pursue a path where I could bridge these worlds, seeking to understand the mapping of both our emotional and psychological landscapes. Here's my academic focus and proposed study. My proposed study at King's College London aims to rigorously explore the neurobiological underpinnings of emotional and psychological resilience through the lens of both modern neuroscience and psychological astrology. The integration of these disciplines is pivotal as it allows for a multifaceted exploration of mental health issues from both a scientific and a symbolic analytical perspective. By studying astrological data alongside neurological patterns, I hope to discover new insights into how we behave and manage our emotions. This kind of interdisciplinary research could really open up new ways to think about mental health and even lead to more tailored ways to help people through integrated therapy. It's a thrilling prospect that could potentially change how we approach mental wellness. For my study at King's, I propose to specifically investigate the impact of maternal trauma on neurological development and adult psychological outcomes using astrological birth data as a supplementary analytical tool. I am interested in formulating hypotheses such as, can astrological birth charts predict susceptibility to certain psychological traits or disorders? And how can interventions be tailored to better support individuals with a history of maternal trauma? These questions aim to bridge the gap between astrological symbolism and empirical psychological research, offering a novel avenue for exploring mental health. A vision for impact. They say changing the world starts with helping just one person, and I truly believe that understanding more about mental health would improve my relationship with my mother and an add-on to my practice. That's why a master's in the psychology and neuroscience of mental health at King's College London feels like the perfect next step for me. This program's blend of cutting-edge neuroscience with psychological theory aligns perfectly with my goals. I'm excited about the opportunity to engage in translational research where I can turn scientific discoveries into practical, real-world solutions for mental health challenges. This knowledge will be incredibly valuable for my practice. I also believe that diving deeper into mental health will contribute to important conversations in my work as an Asian Western astrologer and as someone in an LGBTQ relationship. It will enrich my future research in mental health, where these intersections are so critical. The placement at King's College London is the dream opportunity I've been waiting for. I'm excited to bring my unique blend of neuroscience, psychology, and astrology to your vibrant academic community and to push the boundaries of what we know about mental health. This research could affect more than just women like my mother and marginalized LGBTQ couples and youth who've had to manage these struggles without proper support, but also future generations who might benefit from what I learn. I can see my learnings integrating into my practice, into becoming a trusted guide in making important life choices. Thank you for considering my application. In paragraph 1 and 2 is the introduction in my current practice. So the content establishes myself in my current role as a professional astrologer and explains the connection between astrology and psychology. The key elements here were emphasizing creating safe spaces, active listening, empathy, evidence-based methods, and some counseling skills. The purpose is to set up my unconventional background and demonstrates existing expertise in helping others. Paragraph 3 to 4 covers the academic credentials that I have and my approach. So this paragraph highlights my Kepler College Diversity Scholarship and explains theoretical frameworks and the mind-body connection, referencing works like The Body Keeps the Score. The key elements here were integration of disciplines and accessibility for underrepresented communities. The purpose of this is to legitimize unconventional background with academic achievement and shows my clinical understanding. Paragraph 5 shows my personal motivation and my deeply personal story about my mother's trauma and generational impact. The key elements here were to connect my personal experience to professional goals and shows how astrology and psychology both process trauma, because it gave me language for pain. The purpose is to provide an emotional core and genuine motivation for my future career path. Paragraph 6 to 7 is my proposed research and academic goals, and the content here is to outline specific research interests combining neuroscience with astrological analysis, and includes a lot of specific research questions and methodology focusing on my maternal trauma. The purpose here is to demonstrate serious academic intent and novel research approach. Paragraph 8 to 9 shows my vision and my conclusion as well, and explains how the program aligns with my goals. And I also mentioned my identity as an Asian Western person and also someone in an LGBTQ relationship. And I also showed that the program fits to my life and my commitment to serving underrepresented communities. I also talk about translational research goals, things from my diverse perspective, and future impact. So that's all I have for you today. King's College London represents the ideal environment to transform my passion for holistic mental health into rigorous, impactful research that can genuinely change lives. And just as astrology helped me first understand my family's trauma, I hope my research at King's will help others find their own pathways to healing and resilience. I look forward to completing my time at King's and to push the boundaries of interdisciplinary mental health research, ultimately creating more inclusive and effective therapeutic approaches for future generations.